What's up, BZ Dynasty? This is your boy, the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. JB Zion on the track. Y'all show me some love. Yoruba, Benai Ephraim of the tribe of Yosef. All praises be to the Most High. Peace, love, and blessings to my melanated family, my chosen race of the Most High Yah, my fellow citizens of Zion, my family. I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to another banger, y'all. This one's gonna be a little bit different. It was really on my heart to kind of start doing Bible study, and not necessarily a series, just kind of be able to break down the scriptures, y'all, just to hear you guys' thoughts, you guys to hear my thoughts. And if any people are new to the channel, you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and I hope you get something out of this Bible study. It helps you kind of understand from an Israelite's perspective what the scriptures are really referring to when it talks about the old and the new covenant. And it's crazy, y'all, because the Christian church has done a number on our minds in terms of our understanding of the scriptures. A lot of things we've been taught with regard to Israel. And it's crazy, y'all, because I grew up in the Christian church my whole life, y'all. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a licensed and ordained minister. I was licensed at 16, but not just that, but I was ordained at 25. I've been immersed in church. I've been immersed at, as you would call our church, mega church. There's about 4,000 members. I've seen the ins and outs of it, and I've also been able to see doctrine and kind of get a handle on, okay, this is what this pastor's gonna say, this is what this preacher's gonna say. And what I've seen, you guys, is that as far as when I was growing up in the church, we used to say, pray for Israel, bless those that, God's gonna bless those that bless them, and curse those that curse them. And that's all I heard. I watched stuff like TBN. They always talked about supporting Israel. They always said that this is Yah's chosen people. Without them, there wouldn't be the Judeo faith, there wouldn't be the Bible, or the Torah, or the scriptures, or the prophets, or Yeshua, without his people. All that time, everybody was loving on Israel. But when I started saying, wait a second, woolly hair, arms and feet the color of brass as if it burned in a furnace. Wait a second, I am black but beautiful. Song of Solomon 1:5. Then the narrative switched up, y'all. That don't matter no more. God loves everybody. Israel ain't special. Y'all think y'all better than folks because y'all Israelites. Stuff don't matter, and that's hate speech, and that's ethnic pride, and all this stuff started happening. Devastating, y'all. Real to all my Gentile brethren, I love you guys, I really do. But as believers in the Most High, I beseech you all to really be sincere, to look at what has happened to so-called black people or so-called African Americans. And a lot of you guys in your heart know that we are the descendants of that people. And now is your time to speak out. And you'll talk to a lot of Israelites, and you might have talked to some Israelites and may have heard about Israelites, but I'm just speaking from my perspective. I just want you to be able to hear how I feel about the thing in terms of, I love you all. I love Christians. I love all nationalities, but I love my people. And to watch my people be destroyed and be stripped of their heritage, their identity, their birthright, and to just watch people sweep that under the rug, and my people die every day, never knowing this. Sincere. Say Big Mama or somebody. Say she's 85. She loves her family. She cooking her neck bones. She believe in Jesus. And then she dies. Just say she never has a conversation with somebody like me and says that, Big Mama, you come from so much greatness. And that's what hurts my heart. And it should hurt the heart of any Christian that professes Yeshua, or what you say, Jesus, to see his people never know that they contributed to society. And you would want Yah's people to be restored. And this is why. Because if so-called black people are in a good space and place in terms of their ethnicity, their pride, their confidence, their self-awareness, their history, their love of themselves and their community, black on black crime, the gang violence. A lot of these symptoms would be cured if the root virus that is a people stripped of their heritage would be addressed. And that's what we're going to do in today's video, y'all. We're going to talk about church replacement theology. A lot of you may have heard of it. Some of you may have not. But basically, it is the orthodox perspective that the church has inherited the promises that were promised to Israel. So Israel was a concealed revelation of what the revealed revelation is to all humanity. So when you read in the Old Testament about I will defend Zion and I will restore Jacob, Christians say that now that was a concealed revelation. The revealed is that all that will come to Christ would be restored, would inherit the earth, would be blessed, and blessed to be a blessing, and all these things. So we're going to, as from an Israelite perspective, delve into the scriptures a little bit. I only have a couple of scriptures where we're going to go through. and see if church replacement theology is substantiated through the text. And the first chapter we're going to go to, you guys, is in Leviticus chapter 26. I'm going to put it up for you guys, and we're just going to kind of read it a little bit, and we're going to see what it talks to us about. All right, so Leviticus 26. Moses is letting Israel know, if you don't guard this heritage that I'm giving you, this culture, the commandments of Torah, of living orthodoxy, right? The way of the land, and honoring the blood and the animals, and the Sabbath days and the feast days, and loving your neighbor as you love yourself, right? If you don't guard this way of life that I'm giving exclusively to this family, a lot of chaos is going to happen to you. But the verse that I really want to go to, you guys, that really kind of talks about what we're really going into today in terms of has the church replaced Israel, is toward the end of the chapter. So we're going to go to verse 33, and then we're going to read out. So verse 33 says, and I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths, as long as it lieth desolate, and you be in your enemy's land. So Israel is going, this is prophesying that Israel would not be in the land. They would be in their enemy's land, the people that would take them captive, and then the land would rest. The way that the Israelites were supposed to have a sabbatical year where they wouldn't sow into the land, but let the land have a Sabbath. We can go into that a little bit later. Verse 35, as long as it lieth desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Sabbaths when you dwelt upon it. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies. And the sound of a shaken leaf will scare them, jokers will chase them, and they shall flee. Now let's skip on down to verse 40. Now this is where it gets real, y'all. If it wasn't real already, this sounds terrifying, right? If you will confess your iniquity and the iniquity of your fathers, with their trespass with which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them. The Most High saying, yeah, I made a hell for y'all, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised heart shall be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity. So Israel has to confess it. They have to own the judgment. They have to be like, if the Most High keeps us like this, this is why. Because we sinned, and our forefathers sinned against keeping the commandments. The land, verse 43, also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbaths, while she lieth desolate without them. Let's go to verse 44. And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away. Let me read it one more time, verse 44. And yet for all of that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them to destroy them utterly. Watch this. And to break my covenant with them, for I am the Lord their God. Now let's just deal with that real quick. We got to deal with that. So basically, the Most High is saying, I will not utterly abhor my people, even in the land of their captivity. Why did we go to that scripture? Because if this be the case, this is just one witness. We got some other scriptures that the Most High has not done away with Israel. Because clearly this verse lets us know that if Israel confesses their sins and the sins of their forefathers, accepts that they're in punishment because of that, and that the Most High has dropped them off, if you will, then the Most High would remember them, to not cast them away utterly, or to destroy them utterly, or to break the covenant with them. Wait a second, I thought it's an old covenant and a new covenant. If you look at the Hebrew, I have a Sefer Bible. A lot of the Hebrew Messianics look at the New Testament as a renewed covenant. So you may see some translations that instead of saying new, it's a renewed covenant. Wait, what are you talking about, JB? You talking about it's a renewed covenant what, with Israel? Okay, now just keep that thought right there. Now let's go to verse 45. But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their God and I am the Lord. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. All praises be to the Most High for the reading of the word. Leviticus 26 is saying that all this hell is going to come upon Israel. But if they will remember their God in the land of their captivity, he will renew the covenant that he instituted with their forefathers. Powerful. The next witness we're going to go through, we're going to do one more Old Testament, and then we're going to go to the New Testament corroboration of that, or fulfillment of that verse. So next we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 31, right? And it reads, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Whoa, me brother. Let's read it one more time. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High Yah, that I will make a new covenant with who? The house of Israel and with the house of Judah. First of all, who is the house of Israel and the house of Judah? House of Israel, a lot of my Israelite family already know, is referring to the northern kingdom, sometimes called Samaria, sometimes called Ephraim, sometimes it's called Israel, or the house of Joseph. That were the 10 tribes that filled that confederacy, right? During a time where the kingdom split because of Solomon's son Rehoboam, that said, well, my pinky finger's stronger than Solomon, my dad, I'm gonna increase the taxes. So the 10 tribes revolted against Judah, which was Judah and Benjamin, and some of the priests as well, some of the Levites, because the Levites were mixed throughout. So you got Judah and Benjamin, and then you got the Joseph house, which is Ephraim, Manasseh, Zebulun, Naphtali. So you got these two houses. But the power of this verse in Jeremiah 31:31 is that the Most High is prophesying, right, that he will make a new covenant with the northern kingdom, 10 tribes, and with southern kingdom, the other 2. So what does that sound like? The new covenant is for northern and southern kingdom, or the new covenant is for the 12 tribes of Israel coming back together as one. Now I'm gonna do another video on Paul and on the whole Gentile misconception and who was Paul sent to, but that'll be another video. But I do want to clarify, just go ahead and put this out there. Does that mean that the other nations can't be saved? That's not what this is saying. It's saying that the new covenant means by which I will introduce my knowledge into the earth, and my way into the earth is through Israel alone. The other nations that would grab to the heel of Jacob, that would cling to Israel, would receive mercy by humbling themselves under the Israelite people and them bringing the knowledge of the Creator as revealed through Yeshua to humanity. The Most High is a God of order. He ain't no whoop-de-doo just doing random things. It's the Most High, it's Yeshua, it's the children of Israel, and the nations that cling under the God of Israel. So, well, that ain't in the New Testament. You know, some stuff in the Old Testament talking about Israel this and Israel that. Let's continue in Jeremiah 31, and we're going to see something beautiful. Oh, let's go back to verse 32. I think I skipped 32. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them. So the Most High said, it ain't going to be that covenant that's contingent upon y'all solely, because y'all done already showed that y'all messed that up. Now this new covenant is made possible through the grace of Yeshua, offering himself, being obedient to the law, and through his life securing the bag, if you will, that is the grace for the people. So it's a new covenant. The book of Hebrews goes a lot into that, and we're finna go there in a second. Verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. So he's telling you again, the new covenant is with Israel. After those days, said the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. And I will be their God, and they shall be my people. This is the Most High talking to Israel. And they shall not teach any more his neighbor, saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. All praise be to the Most High through Yeshua. Now check out verse 35, y'all. This is why I'm staying in this chapter. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts, Sabaoth Yah, is his name. If those ordinances depart from me, what ordinances? The sun by day, the moon and the stars for light by night. If those ordinances depart from me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel, then and only then, will the seed of Israel, the seed of Zion, also cease from being a nation before me. Wow, that's powerful. He didn't say, then shall Israel cease being a people. Oh no. Because you could say, well, there's Israelites still in existence today. We know that y'all Israel. He said that Israel will not cease being a nation. What does that mean? The kingdom. Y'all better hear me now. Y'all better hear me now. Y'all better hear me. Israel is always, and I mean always, prophesied to return to being a nation before the Most High Yah. That means the kingdom. That means every Israelite saying we're going to get back to that land, reparations, restoration. The Most High has promised that is always the birthright of his people, unless you walk outside one morning and the sun ain't shining no more. Y'all better talk to me. So no matter what Satan does, no matter what his people do, and I'm going to say that again, no matter even what Israel do, because this new covenant ain't even based on their perfection of the law, statutes, commandments. We keep this stuff now out of Thanksgiving. Y'all better talk to me. We keep these ordinances now out of just, Yah, we love you. Yah, we thank you for having us a heritage, or keeping our heritage. Something we can be proud of. We keep this because we know where we come from. We keep this because you didn't kept us despite ourselves. If the sun and the moon and the light by night, the stars cease, then and only then will Israel cease to be a nation. Well, preacher with JB, that's the Old Testament. You're going to have to show that in the New Testament. I'm going to show that exact chapter in the New Testament. So now we're going to turn to Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. Hebrews chapter 8. For finding fault with them, he says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, saith Yah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. All praises be to the Most High Yah, Yoruba, B'nai Ephraim. The New Testament corroborates, is that the right word? Corroborates the exact same verse in Jeremiah chapter 31. That the new covenant was made with a specific people. That's not talking about salvation. That's talking about the new covenant, the promises, the leadership, the spiritual mandate, right? The knowledge of the Creator. All of that is a covenant with Israel and their seed. I can almost tell you the Gentiles, I'm just going to say it like this, will never be able to teach that book the way an Israelite will that's awoken to who they are. Y'all better talk to me. Because the covenant was made with them to be a light unto all nations. But y'all just rewatch it, man. Drop some comments, likes. If y'all want me to do another Bible study lesson about this topic, I'm going to do a lot of other ones. I got a lot of history plans, some reactions, getting into some politics a little bit and looking at where we are in this season. It's just so much, y'all. I'm going to deal with my brother Alan Parr. I'm coming for him and a lot of these urban apologists vocab. Just to have some fun and stir that blood in Israel, to let them know we got to fight for our heritage. But I love you all. Y'all never know how much y'all mean. Every comment we get, we cherish that thing, me and Shawnee D. So with that, y'all, I just want to say I love you all with the love of the Most High. Shalom, peace, and blessings to the 12 tribes.